Oh yeah.
You're gonna fall off.
Alright, so recently Massdrop and Sennheiser had a collaboration project, the HD6XX. So one of the questions that I saw when the HD6XX was announced, because it was announced at $200, was its comparison between the K7XX and essentially the 650. Because the 6XX is supposed to be a 650, essentially. Same drivers, probably the same grills here, definitely different plastic. It's blue, dark blue plastic. According to Linus from Linus Tech Tips, it's cheaper feeling plastic. And these kind of silver HD650 badges are black with silver markings. And other than that, they should be the same. So $200, $200. Which one should you buy? If you already have the K7XXs, should you get the 6XX or the 650? If you already have the 650, or if you bought the 6XX, should you get the K7XXs? Or if you just have $200 to spend, which one should you buy? So, quick spoiler alert, I paid the $200, the $199 for my K7XXs, and I feel that they are worth every penny. I spent $340 on my 650s, and I feel that they are worth every penny. So everything that I say in this video is going to have to be taken with a grain of salt, because there is still, we don't know how the 6XXs are. There's a chance that the plastic could just be so shitty that they feel like terrible headphones, or maybe they just don't sound quite as good. You never know, they might have small imperfections. They might just be using this opportunity to get rid of them. Okay, so for the first question, which one is a better deal at $200? Strictly speaking, as a headphone, hands down, the winner. The main differences between the two, the soundstage on the K7XX is a little bit wider. The bass is a little meatier, I would say. There's a little bit of a raised mid bass, so you get a little more bump, and they're overall just kind of warmer. The HD650 still has pretty good bass, has really good bass extension. The mid range is excellent, and I mean it's just an excellent headphone. And the amount of detail and resolution in the 650 just blows the K7XX out of the water. If you want to listen to music and hear detail, these are the headphones that you want. If you just want to kick back and enjoy some warm fuzzy tunes, these are the headphones that you want. Alright, so I'm just going to interject here as I'm editing. There is something that I forgot to mention yesterday, or kind of like an anecdotal. So the best way to describe the difference between the two headphones for me is like thinking of an image, a picture, like a digital picture. When you have a picture at a certain resolution, at a lower resolution, you can make out the picture. You can see, the colors and the subjects and everything. You can make out the trees in the ground and say a mountain or something. But with the low resolution, some things like the leaves on the trees will kind of be blurred together. Things will be a little bit blocky. There won't be very good contrast. There won't be very good separation between the elements in the image. And then if you get a really high resolution image, if you really pay attention to the details, you could see like the veins on the leaves on the trees, and you can definitely make out each individual leaf. You can make out the texture of the bark on the trees. You can make out the precise line in the shadows in the snow on the mountain. It's these kinds of differences that you see between, say, the 650 and the K7XX. The 650 just gives you that much more resolution in the sound. One of the differences that I've noticed with this is listening to actually male vocals. And it's not just the 650 versus the K7XX. This is the 650 versus other headphones that I've listened to, like the THX100. But just like the difference in vocals, like you can hear the texture of people's voices. It's that extra detail, as minute of a difference as it is. I mean, relatively, you're talking about like only a small percentage more detail over what you already have, but it's that small amount that makes just a world of a difference. But purely as a price to performance point, the 650s, or very likely the 6XXs, are going to be much worth the $200. These would be a steal for $200. The only downside is that the 650s and the 6XXs have a 300 ohm impedance, which means that using them with something like your cell phone, they're probably not going to sound that good. Generally, you will want to get a dedicated amp. And I have listened to these out of my O2, and it does a perfect job powering them, and they sound absolutely fine. Definitely not as good as something like the Jotunheim that I have, that I actually compared these on. But I would definitely get an amp, and something like the O2, at least the Massdrop O2, whenever they do drop it, it's only $80. And there are plenty of sub $100 amps that would be more than enough, really, to drive these for the average user. Now, the K7XX is easier to drive at, I believe, 72 ohms, if I remember correctly. I feel like it was an odd number. But it still does benefit from an amp. Okay, so if you only have $200 budgeted to spend on a headphone, get the 6XXs. Or the 650s, if you can get them for $200. And you save up and buy an amp later. If you already have the 650s, or if you bought the 6XXs, and you're kind of eyeing the K7XXs, they are a worthy complementary pair. Sometimes the amount of detail that the 650s give, they can be a little too engaging, and I just want to like sit back. I really need to concentrate. I really need to focus less on the music and just have something playing in my ears, and that's where the K7XXs come in. And I also kind of prefer the K7XXs for listening to people speaking. Like if I'm watching YouTube videos or something, I prefer these. Even though the K7XXs have better soundstage, I prefer the 650s for gaming. And of course, if you have the K7XX, the 650 or the 6XX probably is a good, or definitely a worthy upgrade. I like these a lot more. I rarely ever use these now. Sometimes the clamp on these gets a little... The clamp on the 650s is... it does loosen up though. It has greatly loosened up over time. I can say though that my ears kind of touch the edge of the 650s. The K7XX, my ears touch. The 650s, they don't. Another thing that I like about the 650s, balanced cable. I can use the balanced output on my Jotunheim, which is nice, I guess. It looks cool. I don't really think it sounds any different, but it looks cool. Go in your home headphones. Although I just heard something. The fuck was that? I think there's a ghost communicating with me through my headphones. If you're wondering where you can get these 650 things, the 6XXs for $200, currently you cannot. The drop sold out 5,000 units. 5,000 units in like 2 hours. Their servers were so overloaded, they was like this big just mess. But unless Sennheiser just had like 5,000 units worth of equipment that they just needed to get rid of, with how successful that drop was, I would bet money on there being another one. But yeah, so thanks for checking out the video, and I will see you in the next one. Should be exciting. Should be a good video. Maybe. I don't know. I gotta go feed the cat. What is it, bud?